I want to start out by saying that I've been having a lot of fun with Project Ascension. I had tried out Ascension a couple times previous to this, and it's confusing, and there was a lot of things I didn't really understand. I didn't give the game a fair chance. Then a few weeks ago, I put out a video, and in the video, I just kind of ran around the free pick server, had a little bit of fun, just showing like how a new player is going to react to it. Just a lot of the things I saw, and a lot of it was exciting. So today we're going back into Ascension WoW. This time, finally started up a real character over on the Alar Season 7 server. And I'm just as confused as I was when I first started. But okay, not really, because I finally found someone that took a little bit of time to sit with me, show me a few things, and answer a lot of my questions. They were new to the game, but unlike me, they have friends, and said friends also play Ascension, so they were able to hold their hand and kind of help them through the leveling process. One thing about Ascension that makes it so confusing is that the game system mechanics are all totally new. Trying to look up information gets hard because a lot of it's from previous seasons. You have to be very careful and make sure that the information or Reddit posts is about the current season. Season 7 started on August 21st, 2021, so any forum, Reddit post, or YouTube video released after that should be up to date and should have the correct information. I also think that longtime WoW players will be a lot more confused than someone coming into Ascension with little or no experience playing retail, because they already know that they have no clue what they're doing and they're able to just go in, flow, have fun, and go with things as they come. Those that have played a lot of WoW go in thinking that they know things. They know the world, they know the NPCs, we remember where things are, where and how they work, and then we end up here and we assume that certain things are done certain ways, certain vendors are in certain places, and then we find out that Ascension has its own system. A lot of those original NPCs and vendors are of little or no use at all. So when you go in game, think of it as going back to a familiar place that has completely changed. I'm going to start out by saying that season mode is a lot less overwhelming than the free pick server because you aren't given the choice of every class skill when you reach the required level. This eliminates the need and desire to look through every class over and over, trying to pick what you want or figure out what to take, when to take it, at what level you should get it to achieve that custom build that you really want. The season server instead starts you out in the card draw system. 3 cards will come across the screen and you'll be able to pick one of these 3 class abilities. Abilities are ranked as common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Common having a higher RNG chance of showing up, and legendary having the lowest chance. So, that makes sense. It is important to note that taking a rare, an epic, or a legendary ability will lower the chances of an ability of the same quality showing up later on as you level. If you pick Sprint, which is a legendary, your chances of seeing the other legendary cards like Blink, Ghost Wolf, or Ice Block are going to be drastically lowered. So it forces you to pick the epic and legendary abilities carefully. If you feel that it's something that's really going to synergize well and enhance that class fantasy that you're going for, then by all means grab it. But if it's something that you're kind of about, I would recommend just passing it up, grabbing one of the other abilities, and keep your chances higher of acquiring those other epic and legendary skills that are going to go better with your class later on. So back to the start and the class draw system. Once you pick your first ability from the first 3 cards, it will continue until you have chosen all 4 of your starting abilities while you're at level 1. Or used all 8 of your ability essence points. I bring up the ability essence points because most all of the abilities that you take at level 1, that's what's going to show up from your deck, are going to have a value of 2 ability essence. You start with a total of 8 ability essence, meaning that in most cases you're going to get 4 abilities to start the game off with the exception of Tame Beast, which is 6 ability essence. And you can see all the different abilities and how many essences if you look down at the little blue spear in the bottom left corner of the card. So if you are determined to get Tame Beast at level 1, be prepared to only get 1 additional skill. You're going to start with 2 skills, and you're going to have to play with those until you get to level 10. Once you reach level 10, 3 more cards will come across the screen, and you get to choose your next ability, and it continues this process every 2 levels until you hit level 60. And you're able to go ahead and look and see what abilities are available at level 1, and it'll help you kind of plan out that initial build. So if you go down to the character advancement menu, it's the little red and yellow arrows going up, or just push N. It's going to bring up your character advancement menu for draft mode. This is going to have every single class, every single spec, and if you just hover over them, it'll show you what level they are available at. Also remember that some of these are going to require other things, like growl requires cat form and bear form, demoralizing roar requires bear form. So these are not going to show up unless you have bear form. Same thing as like in the warrior protection tree here. Should be what? Spell reflect, shield slam, shield wall, revenge, shield block. These aren't going to show up. Taunt as well. Yes, taunt as well. These are not going to show up unless you currently have, or if you already have, defensive stance. Down here it's going to show you how many ability essences you have. I know these were used a lot in previous seasons, but so far I haven't really seen much of a use for them. They just kind of give them to you as you level up, but then you use them right away. So far I don't know. So maybe when you get to level 60 and you're turning these marks of ascension, maybe they become important. We also have your talent tree, only you don't have one talent tree, you now have 9 talent trees. So this is going to be super confusing. This is going to be something that I'm going to have to really look at and decide. Right now I'm going with a two-handed crit build. So in this case here, what I'd probably do is I'd probably go into warrior and head over to arms, and they have what, two-handed specialization. I can do sword spec. Also with the Rep Paladin, doesn't Rep Paladin have some kind of crit for two-handed weapons? Yeah, two-handed weapon specialization. And down here you'll see how many talent essences you have, and you can use these to learn new talents, and you receive 1 every level after you reach level 10. And if you ever want to reset your talents, scroll talent on learning is what you're going to be using. So if this is your first character in Ascension, and I'm assuming most people that are watching this video, the answer is going to be yes. Chances are you drew 4 abilities and they're not going to have a lot of synergy. Instead of making a new character and trying again, just go ahead and open up your bags and click on the spell draft deck. This will remove the abilities that you just chose as long as you're still level 1, and allows you to re-roll over and over again until you get the 4 abilities that you want to start with. Once you got your abilities figured out, you'll notice that there's going to be 2 books there. There's going to be a yellow book and a purple book. The yellow book is going to be training abilities for all the different classes. And the other book is going to have all the different professions. So you can go ahead and grab those right there, right now. And whenever you're in a town or anything, you're going to want to look for those. It's going to save you a lot of time so you don't have to go to individual trainers. And also right from the start, you're going to be introduced to one of the main game mechanics of Ascension by talking to the 2 NPCs that are put in place for different people that are wanting to play tank or healing roles. These NPCs introduce you to one of the main mechanics of the game, sealed card and skill cards. These allow you to select 4 skills, 2 gold epic and a rare, and guarantee that you will draw them at the appropriate level. So when you get to that level, the skill has a 100% chance of showing up in your 3 cards. And these must be used between levels 1 and 9. And this is really nice, and it is one of the fundamental mechanics of the game, as I learned later on. The core loop of the game is to level to 60, working on getting the build that you want. Once you get to level 60, you then begin doing dailies, turning in marks of ascension to get hands of fates, seal cards, and other things that allow you to re-roll your skills and build that ultimate class structure that you're working for. And this creates a system that gives you 2 ways to continue progressing your character. Gear, which we're all accustomed to, and then re-rolling and changing your abilities. And I had no clue that this was how the end game worked when I first went in. So I was struggling, thinking I had to focus a lot and work on getting everything I needed as I leveled. Thankfully, I had a question while I was in Stormwind, and I asked a nearby chat and got an answer, which led to me spending about an hour talking to a guy that I met there back and forth, asking him questions and piecing together all the information he was giving me. I can't begin to explain how helpful this was and how much I appreciate them taking the time to do this. Getting help in Ascension isn't easy. You just have to look at World Chat and Ascension to see why. It's person after person asking questions over and over, day after day, asking questions like, can I use bear form and defensive stance at the same time? Can I use prowl with this? Can I do this with this? How many dots can we have? Does this go well with that? What's the top DPS? Which works better? What do you guys recommend? What tanking build is the best? And it's non-stop, and because of that, I think a lot of the veterans in Ascension just kind of ignore ignore that, and it's very few times that someone will actually reach out and help you out. But after talking to this player, I learned a lot of things, and suddenly it all made sense. That was all I needed to finally lift that cloud of confusion and set me on my path to Ascension. See what I did there? One of the things that this most helped me with was understanding the NPC Silas. Silas has a quest every 10 levels that's going to reward you a Hand of Fate. And the Hand of Fate is pretty neat, especially if you've gotten really bad RNG and your class build just isn't going the way that you want. You can hang on to these, or you can use them anytime you want. And what it will do is it will randomly draw 3 abilities, allowing you to choose one of those. And then it's going to choose 3 abilities that you currently already have. And then you weigh the 2 against each other, deciding whether or not the new ability that you got to pick is better than any one of the 3 that it pulled, and you can go ahead and swap it out. For some reason, you got a bad draw, or the abilities that you currently have that it chose are just far superior to the new one that you can get, you can cancel it out. You just go ahead and hit the X on the far right hand card, and it will cancel it out, and you do lose the Hand of Fate. So keep that in mind. Silas also has skill cards, which are organized by class. They're account bound, and you must be between level 1 and 9 in order to use it. And these take gold, and they take the Dark Moon tickets. You get the Dark Moon tickets from opening up sealed cards and golden sealed cards pack. This is something that I haven't gotten into because I haven't hit level 60 yet, but this is how you stock up and save things, so when you build your next class, or when you get to 60, you're able to have a little bit more control on the different abilities that are going to show up as you level, or that you can swap out and switch for the current abilities that you have now. And if you go to the Dark Moon tickets here, you're going to see skill cards and golden skill cards, and this is how you can help control and take hold of that RNG while you level your next class. So you pick it and you head in, and you get to pick by class here. And once you open that up, you're going to see skills from all the different classes, and you just save up and get what you want. And you can use it for your current build. Like I said, you'll be turning in marks of ascension and stuff for rerolls and whatnot. Or you can go in and maybe check out the rogue here. Maybe you want to make some kind of melee DPS next time. You can pick up these card packs and then use these when you prestige, and it will guarantee that these abilities will show up when you reach the required level. And then it's kind of like junior high, you know, like, are all these people running around just as confused as me? You know, I'm trying to step out and explore, and let's be honest, in junior high, we were weird. Ascension is all about putting time into making your build, and have fun playing, and make sure that you can get as powerful as possible. You do this by leveling to 60, and then you focus on picking up your missing skills through acquiring Hands of Fate, skill cards, and sealed decks. And then you stay at level 60 until you feel that it's at a good place. You can then raid or PvP with that, or you save the build on your character, collect a bunch of skill cards and sealed cards for the next build you want to work on, and then you prestige, resetting yourself back to level 1. Only this time, you have much more control over the RNG and how your build will plan out. Remember the cards that all said that they're only usable between levels 1 and 9? This is where they come into play. Now that you have prestige, you can choose 4 key abilities through these skill cards, and when you use it, it will guarantee that they are drawn from the deck when you reach the required level. Now you can be sure that some of your key abilities will show up as you level, and when you reach level 60 again, you have a much better built class than you did on your first playthrough. So you can level a DPS hybrid the first time, save the build, prestige, and then go back using skill cards, and maybe you want to work on a prop build. Then you can prestige again, and maybe you want to work on a caster, letting you make as many builds as you want, all on one character, if that's something that sounds fun to you. And when you reach level 60, you're able to switch back and forth between all your builds and play multiple playstyles all on the same character. Once I learned all of this, things became clear, and I finally understood the core leveling and playstyle that Ascension offered, and I like it. Now I just need to learn some of these other things, like all the enchants you use at level 60 to help finalize your character's different builds, the gameplay mode of high stakes, where there are new high-powered crafting materials that anyone in high stakes mode can go out and collect, and then bring back to trade or sell on the auction house for the people that want to avoid the high stakes open world. There are hidden treasure chests found out in the world, monster nests, rare elite spawns with high gear and items, open world PvP where you lose pieces of gear when you're defeated, making you need to travel with a group of friends or be extremely careful. But if you want all the rare items and materials found in the high stakes world, you gotta go out and you gotta do it. Then decide what gear you're willing to lose and leave your best gear, maybe stashed in your bags or your bank. There's also an option that lets you lose gold instead of gear, which seems pretty neat, that I haven't looked too much into yet. So much I still need to learn and experience. I can't wait to get to it. Add to that the ability to level and create various builds, having a ranged and melee, casting, swap between them, go out into the open world and PvP, reap all the benefits of the high stakes world, jump back in, create a tank and a healer maybe to do some endgame raiding and dungeons. All of it has me excited, wanting more, and I'm ready to jump into it. So in closing, yeah, that's a lot of information, and there's still so much more to learn and discover. The first thing to do after you get into the game is just get accustomed to the new terms and the items. You know, the Hands of Fates, sealed decks, draws, your deck, setting up skills. Once you do that, you're still going to be confused, but at least you can have an idea of the terminology that the game's built around. I then recommend watching the official Season 7 launch video released by the Project Ascension development team. It's just under, I think it's like 19 minutes long, and when you first watch it, very little of it's going to make sense. The video really is made for players returning from previous season and lets them know what game mechanics were changed, what's staying the same, how they've reworked certain things, and what things are new this season. I recommend just watching it and listening to it and hearing it. Hear the system names, again, the terminology, the items that are part of building your deck and building your skills. This will let you know what you're looking for and what's important. So now when you see these things in game, you'll have a little bit of knowledge and be like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that in the video. Then once you put several hours into the game and better understand what's going on, you can go back, watch the video again, and it's going to make a lot more sense. So get out there, roll that first character that's going to suck when you hit level 60. You're going to spend the time to rebuild them how you want, and then have fun creating as many or as few builds as you want. Hopefully this video will help some of you start out a little less confused. Remember, like, sub, because if you do, I will think that you're awesome. Thank you all for watching, and until the next video, you guys have fun.